See, most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential, not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have. In the book called Miseducation of the Negro, Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you'll never have to concern yourself with what he will do. If you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. That's why Scripture reminds us, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So every day you have to sell yourself and get out of your mind those old thoughts, that old belief system. Every day you've got to sell yourself on that it's possible. That you got to put a new mind in you. You got to get out of your mind. You got to begin to restructure your thinking. Every day you've got to begin to recondition your mind. See, let me share something with you. The easiest thing I've ever done was to earn $1 million. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe it could happen to me. That was the most difficult part, to believe that given my circumstances, if my birth parents came down this aisle right now, I would not know either one if my daddy came up here or my mother came up here. Given the fact that I was born in an abandoned building on a floor, being labeled educable, mentally retarded, I remember going to see the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the author of the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And I used to look at him up on stage and I said, I could do that. I would love to talk to people. I love to talk to people. And I said, I could do that. But then when I started going back to my car, my mental conditioning activated itself. And it said, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have the training. You've never worked for a major corporation. You can't do that. What makes you think you can earn $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in an hour? You don't earn that now working for 2 or 3 months. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric? These are clients I have now. You've never even worked for them. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do and you talk yourself out of it? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. That inner conversation is what's going to haunt you. After standing here and saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. After saying that again and again, we are more than conquerors. That inner conversation will cause you, when you leave here, to go back leading a life of mediocrity, leading a life of unproductivity, leading a life of poverty. So I'm going to share with you how to break out of that. Whatever it is that you want to do, ladies and gentlemen, here's something that's very key for you. There must be on your part a willingness to do what is required, a willingness. If there are 75 things to do to achieve your goal, if there's one thing on that list of 75 that you're not willing to do, I guarantee you that's the first thing that will come up for you and will kick your butt. See, I always wanted to be a speaker and a trainer. I wanted to make an indelible impact in the training industry, but I didn't want to be a businessman. I'm a first-generation entrepreneur in my family. Because I was told I was dumb and stupid most of my life, I unconsciously developed a tremendous phobia about paper. If you say, let's write me a speech, I automatically become nervous. I can't write you a speech, but I can give you a speech, but I can't write you one. I can't tell you the principles of speaking and what it takes, but I can demonstrate it for you. I can show you how to speak, but I can't give you a written explanation for it. I'm not smart like my sister who graduated from the University of Miami. But I have people on my staff with her education that work for me. But I can't write stuff that they write because that's not my area of strength. But so I had a fear. I felt I could not operate a business. And so I wanted to hire a consultant to take care of the details. I had given this consultant power of attorney to sign checks and handle my business. I called my consultant and said, listen, I've thought about this. It's time for me to grow. I've got to be willing to handle my own business. I want to meet with you. I need to develop a working knowledge of this. I've got to stop running from this. I've got to learn, admit my ignorance, and decide it doesn't have to be like this for me. To make a long story short, my consultant canceled 14 meetings with me. And when I finally got my books back and have not seen my consultant to this day, I knew why. That thousands of funds had been embezzled from my account. Now, whatever happened in our lives, we allow it, we permit it, and we promote it. So it was just an education as my career is going up, not coming down, but it's going up. It was just a tuition I had to pay in the universe because I wasn't willing to learn. I wasn't willing to do that. Now, here's something else that's fascinating. I said, okay, see, if you're not willing to grow in life, life will kick your butt until you surrender. So I said, okay, I'm willing to learn. And here's what I discovered. It's not as hard as I thought it would be. It has blown my mind. I've been running from things that I consider difficult, and if I had known it's this simple, I'd have been doing it long before. But I wasn't willing to grow. I wasn't willing. I didn't have the willingness to do everything that was required, and therefore it kicked my butt. So you've got to decide to grow. See, most people won't try and grow. Now, why wasn't I willing to do that, ladies and gentlemen? Because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to admit the fact that I didn't know something. 85% of people in life allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. See, if you know how to do something right, well, it only makes sense to do it right. But see, I wasn't willing to be a businessman badly. See, if you want to make it in life, here's how you can begin to make your goal, ladies and gentlemen. Decide to make your life a great experiment. See, most people want to experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Most people want to be perfect when they come out the gate. Most people want to do things right all the time. You're not going to do everything right. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have a lot of failures. You're going to have a lot of struggles. You're going to feel dumb and ask questions and don't know what to do or where to go. And that's part of growing. That's part of the experimentation process. See, life is about living. Life is about growing. Life is about challenging yourself. Life is about stretching. So think about that. Decide to make your life an experiment. Decide to take some chances and come out here in the universe and find out what you're made of. Another challenging area in terms of nurturing and developing that hunger in yourself is learning the art of becoming single-minded, learning how to concentrate, learning how to focus in. And you'll be surprised at the things that you're able to do. When you learn how to block things out, when you learn how to keep thine eyes single, you'll be surprised at the ideas that will come to you, of the people that you'll be able to attract, of the opportunities that you'll be able to see. You'll begin to see things that have been standing there looking you in the face, say, I can't believe this has been here all this time. Here's a habit that I do. Maybe it might be of some value to you. I get up in the morning and I start writing what great ideas that I can think of today that can improve me and that will enable me to reach my goal. And I just let my mind flow. Sometimes I write 15, 20 ideas. Some days it's more difficult than others. It was Whitney Young. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
Hey, quick little pause. Hope you're enjoying the video so far. If it's helping you out, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like. And if you want more videos like this, feel free to subscribe and join us. Thanks a ton for watching. All right, let's continue.
I remember once when I lost my job, when I was fired out of broadcasting, September 18th, I'll never forget, 1978. I was behind in my house notes, and my house was up for foreclosure. I did everything I could. I had borrowed as much money as I could borrow. I had talked to family members and friends. I did everything I could, and I couldn't get enough money, being unemployed for several months, applying for job after job after job, and couldn't get a job. I couldn't get enough money to save the house, but I never felt, and this is very important, the feeling that I never felt that I was going to lose that house. I wanted that house. And so what I did was very uncanny. I released it. I did the best that I could. And at that time, with the limited money that I did have, I decided to take a trip with my family to Miami to go down and spend time in the sun with my children and my wife. We caught a Greyhound bus from Columbus, Ohio, and we went to Florida. By the time I arrived on the day that the bank was to foreclose at 12 noon on the house, I got a call from one of my former assistants who went by the house and called me and said, Les, it's an emergency. Call Columbus right away. I did. And Carolyn Sloan said, Les, you won't believe this. You have a check from the Internal Revenue Service on your income tax. And it was enough to pay the house notes, and I had money over. I never received a refund prior to that time or since that time. And I did not lose the house. So there are things that we don't know or understand, but we do know that if we do certain things, that things begin to happen that's in our favor, that shows that the universe is on our side. Everything that we're seeking, I believe that if we begin to align our thoughts with action and be relentless, don't try 2 or 3 things or 15 or 20 things, but 100 things, 500 things if necessary, 10,000 things as Edison did if necessary, until we find a way out. Many of us, we eliminate many possibilities for ourselves because we really don't do all we can do. I think A.L. Williams was right when he said, all we can do is all we can do, and all we can do is enough. And I think, honestly speaking, even judging from myself, and I think that my commitment is stronger than most people. But if I had to literally measure my commitment in terms of what I put forth in my dream, I would say that I might have given about 18 to 20% of what I'm really capable of. As high in consciousness as I believe that I am, comparatively speaking, where I used to be, I'm still nowhere near reaching 50% of the commitment that I can make to accelerate the growth and the development of my dream and the manifestation of the things that I know within myself that I'm capable of producing. So our biggest challenge is beginning to look at within ourselves to remove those energy blocks, because if we are not producing the income that we want, let us not look outside of ourselves, but look within ourselves to find out, how am I blocking me? Am I really giving it all that I have? Am I really being as creative as I can be? Am I really unstoppable? Am I as relentless as I can be? Am I exhausting every means possible? Am I turning up every rock to find what it is that I'm looking for? How is it that one man or woman can do it and do 1,000,000 times more than these other people, and the other ones don't? It has to be consciousness. It has to be, and when we talk about consciousness, we're talking about a collection of our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions and experiences used as an active force to produce in our lives that which we want to produce. Because everything that exists in life, the microphones that we're speaking in, the shoes that we have on our feet, the chairs that we're sitting in, the clothes that we're wearing, the homes that we live in, the cars that we drive, all of that came out of our consciousness. That all came out of the invisible into the visible. And man was the vehicle, the outlet to produce that. Wherever we are stopped in our dream, we stopped at a place called willingness. Anybody that's fallen short of their goals, they ran into something that they were not willing to handle. Because in order to reach your dream, in order to make things happen, there must be a willingness to do what is required. If the need is to raise $2,000, and let's say you have a set of tapes for $40, are you willing to make 200 calls a day? Are you willing to stand on a corner and talk to people and say, listen, I've got a set of tapes here that can change your life? Are you willing to make the commitment that you will not go to sleep until you sell at least 10 tapes a day? Are you willing to say, if it takes me 12 hours walking and talking to people all day long until I find 10 people that will say yes? If I have to talk to 200 people or 300 people, that in order to provide food for my family, to provide shelter, to not to have creditors hounding me, am I willing to talk to 300 people a day? Am I willing to stand in an airport and sell tapes? Am I willing to go out and make calls again and again and again? Am I willing to knock on doors? Am I willing to do that? See, if we have some skill, some ability, some knowledge, or some product then the only thing that's between us and what we want to generate is our willingness to expend the energy to produce the results that we want. What am I willing to do with my energy, my time, and my knowledge to produce the results? That's the bottom line. What are you willing to do? And what most people don't realize is they don't give up on their goals because it becomes insurmountable or it's impossible, is that they just looked at what they wanted and they just decided within themselves, consciously or unconsciously, I'm not willing to produce this result. Are you willing to say that I need $2,000 between now and next week, and come hell or high water, I will produce that? That's the bottom line. Because the only thing that counts in life are results, not reasons of why you didn't do it, but results. That's the only thing that counts. And we are capable of producing results. That's it. That's the bottom line. Are you willing to honor your commitment to do that? What are you willing to do? How many floors are you willing to mop? How many shoes are you willing to shine? How many phone calls are you willing to make? How many sales are you willing to make? How many jobs are you willing to hold? How much service are you willing to provide? Most people don't keep their commitments. They are not willing to be a no matter what person. That I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Most people use escape routes for themselves. Most people have something that they could point to justify why they haven't produced the results. Some reason. Well, people weren't buying, or the economy is soft. Somebody somewhere is buying. Somebody somewhere is spending some money. So as we begin to look at where we are, every time when I was working on developing my dream, and I knew that I had to do something, that I had to do it, I was always able to pull it out. Because I started thinking, if a Walt Disney can do it, if a John D. Rockefeller can do it, then I can do it.
It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. I started speaking just to elementary school kids because I knew they didn't know what I was talking about. And they gave me all kind of standing ovation. We like you, yeah. Then I graduated up to junior high school and then to senior high school and then to various community groups and church groups and civic associations and then to colleges and to businesses. Now I'm traveling across the country and then traveling nationally and internationally. But I never would have discovered what I'm able to do right now if I wasn't willing to take a chance. And you've got to be willing to do that. You've got to believe in yourself. A lot of people love me to tell this story. When I got out of school, my first major goal was to buy my mother a home. And my hero in broadcasting was Paul Harvey. And I wanted to become involved in broadcasting. And I loved the disc jockeys that were on the air. And I wanted to become a disc jockey. See, so I started working to develop my communication skills and expand my vocabulary. I started visualizing myself being a disc jockey. I saw myself on the air having a talk show and playing records and people listening to me. That was my vision. That was my dream. I held that in mind constantly. And I would practice all the time. Practice makes what? Absolutely not. Just dislodge that from your mind. Practice only makes improvement. Perfection doesn't exist. You need to take it out of the dictionary. It doesn't exist. Practice only makes improvement. You can always better your best. You have not done your best work yet. As long as you're here, you have a chance to transcend yourself. So don't believe in perfection. It doesn't exist. It only makes improvement. So I would practice every day. And finally, I went over to this radio station, asked a guy for a job named Mr. Butterwall. And I said, how you doing, sir? I'd like to get a job. I was working on Miami Beach at the Fontainebleau Hotel at the time. The Jackie Gleason and the June Taylor dances were famous. And my favorite program on television, most people would not remember, John Beresford Tipton. Hi, my name is Michael Anthony. I have a check for $1 million. How many of you remember that program, all right? The Millionaire, that was my favorite program on television, So this was my fantasy, and every time we would drive from Miami Beach, I would fantasize, oh, that's the house. When I get my $1 million, I'm going to buy my mother that home over there. So that's my fantasy. So I went up to Mr. Butterball, and he said, you have any radio experience? I said, no, sir. You have any background in journalism? I said, no, sir. I said, but I can never get experience if you don't give me the opportunity. I've been practicing a lot, sir. He said, I'm sorry, we don't have any job for you.
I said, thank you, sir. He didn't know my reasons for being there. My reason, I wanted to use radio as a means to earn the money to buy my mother a home. I went back to the radio station again. I said, how you doing? My name is Les Brown. I know your name. Didn't I just see you here yesterday? I said, yes, sir. I said, y'all have any jobs here? Didn't I tell you yesterday we didn't have any jobs? Yes, sir, but I thought maybe somebody got fired or resigned. I didn't know, sir. I went the next day. How you doing, Mr. Butterball? He said, yes. And I just didn't take it personal. How you doing? So y'all have any jobs here? Didn't I just tell you yesterday and the day before we didn't have any work? I went the next day, showed up like nothing was wrong, like I saw him for the first time. How you doing, Mr. Butterball? Y'all have any? He said, boy, make yourself useful. Go get me some food. I said, yes, sir. See, many times when you want more, you've got to be willing to pay your dues. So I became their errand boy. I would get their lunch and their dinner and all kind of food for them. After a while, I would take the food to them in the control room, and I would not leave until they would ask me to, and I'd watch them working the controls, and I'd memorize their hand movements. And pretty soon they would trust me with their cars to go pick up entertainers that came into town, entertainers like Sam Cooke, Dinah Ross and the Supremes, the Four Tops and the Temptations. I would drive them all over Miami Beach in the disc jockeys' cars. Finally, one day I was at the radio station, and a guy by the name of Rock was drinking while he was on the air. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was the only one there. None of the other jocks were available. And I was looking at him through the control room window. Pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager. I said, hello? He said, Les, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs to come in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, do you know how to segue the records? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get behind those controls. I put the headphones on. I said, look out, this is me, LB, Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. It makes you feel better when you are able to have charge of your destiny, doesn't it? Gives you a good feel. Gives you choices. You can do more things. Living a dream, changing your life is hard. It's hard when you lose all your money, when you've given it the best that you have, when you have some major setback. It's hard. When a doctor looked at me and said the three horrible words no one wants to hear, you have cancer. It was hard to mobilize my mind and spirit, to listen to tapes and music and read scripture and be around other people and seeking out other prostate cancer conquerors to believe that I could do this. It was hard. Never forget, my son said, Daddy, are you going to die? Why are you asking me that? You're not going out much. You're not the bubbly personality that I know you to be. You're not talking much. You're spending a lot of time in the room by yourself, Dad. Are you going to surrender? Are you giving up? Are you going to let that doctor's opinion become your reality? Will my daddy see me graduate? Yes, son, yes. I'm going to fight. No, I don't think it's my time yet. I'm going to see you graduate, but more than that, I've got some other things that I'm going to do with my life. And I thank you for asking me that. But I must tell you that I'm scared. I'm scared. And I've never been in this situation before. It's been easy for me to talk to people and encourage people when they've had challenges in their lives, but it's me. And I don't feel less than a man in admitting this to you. Yes, I'm scared. And I need some help. See, life is hard. And there are some moments in life when you're going to need some help. You're going to need somebody to speak to you. You're going to need somebody to say something to you. I have a friend of mine, Willie Jolly, who's a motivational speaker. He said, a setback is a setup for a comeback. I had to listen to Willie's tapes. I have another friend, Kevin Brace, who's a speaker. He said, Les, come on, man, you can do this. You can make this happen. You can hit a home run. It's a done deal. You are Les Brown. That cancer's got to get out of your body. I said, talk to me, Kevin. Talk to me. That's what I need to hear. I needed to hear those words.